What is happening, everybody? Oh my goodness, another week of the Blitz. Here we go. I can't believe we're already into week 7, man. That blasts me away. I'm like, dude, we're a couple weeks out of the playoffs, it feels like. With me was my man Justin. How we doing this morning, buddy?
Good morning. Good morning. How's it going?
Yeah, it's Sunday. It's football day. We had no London football, so I don't know how I feel about London football now because I quite enjoyed not having London football today. It seems like I'm always stressing about my lineup or who's playing, who's doing what when I'm trying to do about a billion other things on Sunday morning. How about yourself? How do you feel about no London football today?
I kind of like it because sometimes people, your competition. I primarily play redraft, as you know, um, and so a lot of times your competition doesn't consider those early games, and they may not necessarily set their lineup, or maybe they have a guy that's in their flex spot that they know they're going to start, and instead of putting it in that guaranteed, let's say it's a wide receiver playing early Sunday morning in London, they put him in that flex spot instead of putting him up into the regular wide receiver spot. And then later on, they have a wide receiver that goes out as a late scratch, and now they have to play a wide receiver. So for like strategical reasons, I actually really like the London Sunday morning games. But honestly, I wake up, I set my lineup, and I go back to bed until it's time for the Blitz. So I don't really know. I don't really watch it.
Right. Yep. Nope. I get that too. I definitely understand that. I just, like I said, I don't know. It seems like it's a lot less stress on my brain when I don't have to worry about that stuff. Make sure you guys follow us at www.toiletstotitles.com. Videos, articles, NFL fantasy content for days, guys. We got some of the best in the business breaking that stuff down for you. The articles are just impeccable on there. Get us on Apple's podcast, YouTube, Facebook, Podbean. Again, just Google toilets for titles. If you go to a place where you're buying toilets, you're in the wrong place. If you're looking at like that 0-5 record guy that talks about his championship that he won, you found us. Make sure you hit that like, subscribe, all that fun stuff. Hit the bell. Give us a 5-star review. Even if it's a bad review, we'll do what we can to make you happy. Definitely get in there, and definitely want to get on our Patreon. The Patreon that we have is off the charts. It's fun. We have a lot of good times in the Discord chats, a lot of advice going down in there as well. And it's 24 hours a day with our boys in Australia, constantly giving advice. I mean, we see it happen at 3:00 in the morning. Sometimes you wake up to like 100 notifications on that damn thing. It gets pretty crazy. So definitely want to get in there and get on there, and $3 a month. That's all you need to get into that chat, all the way up to $10 a month, which puts us in your pocket at all times. Oh, goodness sakes. Get all through that. Steve says, good morning. Good morning, Uncle Steve. How we doing today, brother?
Morning, Uncle Steve.
All right. And we'll go ahead and just, we'll hop right into this, man. We got quite a few questions lined up off of our Twitter out there. It looks like a lot of people having the same kind of dilemmas in the league with the, injuries, with bye weeks hitting us. There's a lot of stuff that it just makes this game not so fun to play anymore. But hey, we're going to guide you right through that. Citizen Jeffter says 0.5 half point PPR, the flex spot, only wide receiver or tight end. It looks like he's got Boyd, Mooney, Renfro, Bateman, or Callaway. Who we playing today?
Boyd, Mooney, Renfro, Bateman, and Callaway. I do like Bateman and Callaway this week. Mooney has a decent matchup too. This is a really tough one. What's also really tough is that since I'm by myself with you, I'm probably gonna have to go first every time. But let's see. I think I'm gonna go with Mooney here. I really like the matchup. I'm trying to look at the matchups as I go here, but I know I really like the matchup this week against who was Chicago playing? I forget. I like it.
Chicago
Bucks. They play the Bucks this week.
Yes.
And with Damian Williams just coming back from the COVID list, we're not positive if he actually had COVID or not, but he wasn't vaccinated. That's why he had to miss the 10 days. So maybe he comes back and is able to make something happen with the run game. Khalil Herbert obviously has that run game locked up, but it's still a tough run defense. So I feel like they're going to be able to stuff the run pretty easily, even with Damian back, and they're going to have to throw the ball a lot. So and that's part of the reason why the Bucks pass defense is as bad as it is on paper, statistically speaking, because they stuff the run so well, and then teams get behind and they just have to throw the ball a lot. So you're going to have yards against you that way. They're just going to be created naturally that way. So, so go ahead and give me Mooney in this matchup.
I like Mooney a lot, but I'm really, really speculative on what I'm going to see out of Bateman. I think we've all been kind of waiting for this guy to get out there to see what he can do. That said, waiting is the key word there. I feel like I'm going to wait one more week on this guy just to see what he's capable of before I can actually plug him into my lineup. Going in there. And so for me, it's actually Marquez Callaway. We still don't see our man Michael Thomas out there. So for me, Marquez Callaway's been getting it done. He's been getting the red zone look. So for me, give it to that guy. But I can definitely see why your case for Mooney right there. Christina Ellis says, how about Joe Mixon or Robert Woods in a half PPR? And for me, Joe Mixon gets the volume. Joe Mixon is going to be the guy that scores from about 10 out, 5 out, 3 out, which they can find themselves in a lot of situations with against these Rams with those DBs that they got. So for me, it is Mixon, and it's not even really that close. Although I do love me some Robert Woods.
In my main money league, I'm going up against Robert Woods, and with the luck I've had this year, Robert Woods is going to go off. But I still cannot start him over Joe Mixon in this situation. Even the half-point PPR doesn't really tip the scale for me, if you will. I think Joe Mixon is going to get about half as many catches as Robert Woods, but all those rushing attempts, and he gets the full workload. It's got to be Joe Mixon.
Yeah. For me, anytime we're talking about fantasy, it's always the volume play for me. I don't like to choke out on a long shot or anything like that on somebody I've got to hinge on, even getting the targets, because Cooper Kupp has been quite the target monster over there. And it seems like we're seeing just spatterings going to Robert Woods. Although today I do agree. I think he gets fed because he's just too good not to.
And I can answer Steve's question here in the chat. It looks like last I've heard about 4 hours ago, we have an update from DraftKings that Sterling Shepard is going to play today.
Yep, I've heard that he's a true game time decision. I don't know that even if he does play, I don't know if I'm playing him, Uncle Steve, just because of the situation at hand. Because this is the kind of thing that where this guy could go out in the first drive, twist something, pull something, hamper something, and just be gone for the rest of the game. So with me or for me, I cannot play him, although it does look like he is going to play today. Although, too, by apocalypse, sometimes you got to do what you got to do.
Yeah.
And sometimes that 0 points is better than or that 1 point is better than 0. But sometimes that also turns to a negative, so be careful. Be very careful. We got Brian Silva 13. He says half PPR, Darnell Mooney at the Bucks or McCole Hardman at the Titans.
It's Mooney for me. Pretty easy there.
Yep, me too. McCole Hardman has been getting a little bit more involved lately, and I have been liking to see that. Although for me, it's pretty much Darnell Mooney. He's been getting all the looks that you want to have Allen Robinson getting, and Cole Kmet's been the other guy to own over there. So without David Montgomery out there, with the running back situation being what it is, I think Darnell Mooney has himself a pretty good day today.
Plus, not only that, but with CEH out, they have actually finally gotten some productivity out of that running back spot with Darrell Williams. So I have a pretty strong feeling you're going to see, even though it's the Titans defense and their run defense is fairly decent, I think Darrell Williams is going to have him a day.
Yep, I think you see a little bit more product of the line with him. And that's why Cleveland running backs are so good. That's why a lot of these running backs are just great, because you get them behind these, 4-foot gaping holes that they're able to just run through, man. And that's what it's all about right there. So I do see the Titans really slowing down Darrell Williams this week. At Run Bam Bam. Run Bam Bam. There we go. I'm Ron Burgundy. He says he needs fantasy advice. In a PPR, he needs to start too. He's got Devontae Smith, Waddle, Damian Williams, and J.D. McKissick and Mike Davis. Who do you got right there? He needs to start too.
All right. I was chatting, trying to discuss some behind-the-scenes stuff, see if we can't get us a third person on here. But Devonta Smith, wide receiver, Philly, what? So he's telling us who they play for. Okay.
Yeah.
It's a little bit different way of doing it. Um, so definitely not Davis. Mike Davis seems like a safe floor kind of guy to me. So I feel like you're already going to get that with a couple of these others. So I think I want to try to go big play. Um, since that injury to Gibson, they've really held back on Gibson a lot more and given McKissick the ball a lot more. Um, and Washington's playing the Packers, so I can see a lot of out of the backfield work for McKissick in this game. It is a PPR, so I think I'm going to go with McKissick here.
Okay. Yep. I like those two. I like Waddle. I don't really feel like I can sit him in this situation. He's just been getting a lot of targets in there. And I agree with McKissick. I think McKissick is the play here. As you were saying, we got Antonio Gibson, who's just been not getting used as much as he's been getting needed to. But even when he was fully healthy, they were using a good healthy dose of McKissick out there. So for me, I like the consistent floors that we get. And my honorable mention would go to Devonta Smith right here because I really see him having himself a pretty big bounce back day today. We got Don Piger says, should I start Bateman over Pittman this week?
Before Ty was out, I'd say yes. Now that Ty is out, I'm going to go with Pittman.
Yep, I think Pittman with T.Y. Hilton out there, that's when we were seeing him get done what he can get done. I agree with that 100%. So we're gonna agree on this one. We both are starting Pittman. Again, I want to see what Bateman has. I'm very excited. I've been waiting for this for a very long time, but waiting is all I'm going to do until I see something happen out there on the field. Do we start T. Higgins and Devonta Smith and sit Michael Pittman? Nathan Iglesias asks. Says, will weather be an issue in the Colts game today?
From what I'm hearing, it very likely will be. Our buddy Beryl Joffrey actually tweeted that to me this morning to kind of remind me, and yeah, so I can definitely see that being an issue. So, but the thing is, without Ty, I still think they're going to need to get that passing game going. I just don't know that I trust. Here's my problem: is I really trust Michael Pittman. It's not that I don't trust the others. I just really trust Michael Pittman. But I think with these options, I think it's go ahead. You're safe. Go ahead and start Higgins and Smith if you're really that worried about the weather, because I think it's close enough that it doesn't really matter.
Out of the three, I feel like the guy I'm sitting right there is Higgins. The weather will be an issue, but at the same time, weather does only do a certain impact. When we start talking about November, December weather, when it gets really cold and things like that can really affect the ball. Now, again, I know high winds and things like that can do the same thing. But it's not as bad. Typically, the quarterbacks can fight their way through that. They can still get the edge on the ball. Both of these guys are used to playing in pretty decent weather as far as Carson Wentz goes. He comes from, hell, the guy played college football in North Dakota, which is, I promise you, the closest to Canada you can get. You close your eyes, you'll swear you're there. So for me, I'm gonna stick with Pittman and Devonta Smith here as well. We got at Randing Zero says, with all the positive news coming out of practice, should he flex Ayuk over Shepard? Shepard set back this week makes him nervous. And kind of like I was saying to Steve right here, when we got a guy going out there that has this type of a lingering injury where he can go out in one play, be done. That's it right there for me. I cannot get this guy in my fantasy lineup and feel confident and comfortable. So I'm not going to do it. I think Ayuk has himself a pretty good day. He's got to, again, look into the weather situation and everything like that. This game will still have passing volume. We'll still probably have some passing touchdowns. And I think Ayuk actually gets more involved today than he has. What do you think, Justin?
I think the weather worries me less with Ayuk than it does a guy like Pittman because of the game style and the fact that Ayuk is more of a short dump off. Let's see what he can do. He also gets involved in the run game, reverses. Like they find ways to try to get him involved in short distance situations. Even so, I like the floor better for Ayuk than I do even for a guy like Pittman. Even though Ayuk hasn't really shown us much this season, it's not that I'm super excited about starting a guy like Ayuk. But in this situation with the injury history, I feel like I'm going to probably lean towards Ayuk as well.
See, and I'm getting Ayuk in a lot of my daily lineups because I really I believe that this is going to be his resurgence week right here as far as it goes. I I don't know. For me, I don't mind playing Ayuk. I think he's a good solid play. I know we haven't seen the volume. I know Samuel's been getting all that, but you're going to see a lot of corner fade on him. You're going to see a lot of safety fade on him. And not that he can't play against that. He's not a versatile enough guy to play against that. It's a lot easier for the quarterback to throw to the open guy, and you'll see him just get those target looks. So
And
for
I know
me, all day.
you're not the only one because I own several shares of Ayuk, and I've been getting trade offers like crazy this week for Ayuk. So I don't know why all of a sudden everybody just thinks that Ayuk's just gonna blow up, but I still didn't really make the move to get rid of Ayuk in any way because I still believe in the talent. I still believe it's there, but I'm at least not starting him until I see it.
Right. Yeah. No, fair enough. And I
It's
mean,
a
that's
great
how I typically play.
situation
But
like
again,
this.
I'm starting him today.
Yeah, and this
Just for the simple reason that I really believe he can get it done. So
and half the league is on bye.
Yep, exactly. Yeah, I'm starting anybody with 2 legs and a heartbeat at this point that's going to be on the field. So at K Niederberg says this Gibson injury and making it hard to want to play him. He has JD McKissick. Who do you start right here?
Wow, man, that I hate to say it, but that is actually a tough decision. So I think if you if you feel like it's going to be a close game, what time is that game actually? That is that the early game? Is that in the early? Yeah, it is 1 o'clock.
The early slate. Yep, the 1 o'clock.
So they're in the early window. So I think you have to try to kind of predict what your game's going to look like. If you think that you're going to be in a battle, you're going to be close, and you want that safe floor, I think you probably go with McKissick. And if you feel like you're going to be ahead, you think that you kind of like your odds, then also the safe floor. But if you're going to have to come from behind, if you think that you're projected to lose by a lot, you look at his guys, you like his matchups better, and you feel like you need that bigger play, then you're going to have to go with Gibson for that higher touchdown upside. Even though, honestly, I'm not sure that Gibson has scored more touchdowns than McKissick. I'd have to look it up.
Yeah, so for me, I think I think today I'm going to actually play Antonio Gibson. I know that's not conventional with what we're seeing out of his production, but I don't think that he's been in declining. I think he's been improving per each game that I've been seeing him out there in. And so for me, I have no problem starting Gibson still. I don't think he's going to give you legendary numbers. I think you're going to see JD McKissick get, his vultured touchdown and things like that. But for me, for my money, I'm gonna play Gibson. I'd rather put Gibson out there than lose with him on my bench. So definitely like me some Gibson still. Although I get it, man. It's very, very hard. Next one up, we got at Danny Fingers says full point PPR, Robbie Anderson, Mooney, or Gaskin, needing one. And for me, this is kind of crazy because this is the first time I'm actually going to be doing this, I believe, this whole entire season. But I'm going to lean towards the volume play of Myles Gaskin. I think Myles Gaskin is the guy that's getting their RB1 work out there in Miami. So for me, it's going to be Gaskin. I can't really depend on Anderson or Mooney, although Mooney is very close.
Yeah, they're playing the Falcons. It's hard to go against that. I think one way that you could beat that possibly might be Robbie Anderson because Robbie Anderson is going against the Giants. Both of those are great matchups. Mooney, we've already talked about. We've already discussed he has a great matchup. So I think you're in a good situation here. Typically, I would lean towards that running back, but that running back situation in Miami and the fact that they split it up so much and it's just hard to determine who's gonna get the work. I think I'm still gonna lean Mooney. I mean, I'm that big on Mooney this week. I may as well stick to my guns here. If it's that close, I'm gonna go with Mooney.
Excellent. Yeah. See, the Robbie Anderson thing, it's like they haven't thrown him the ball in so long that he forgot how to catch it. So I don't know. So hopefully we see that transition into something else.
Went to a touchdown last week.
Right. Still, but I mean, like he should have had a way bigger day than he had. If you count all the drops, man. That's what's killing me on that. The drops from the guy. At Xavier 327-743-73. And the only reason I said all those numbers is I'm curious, is there that many more Xaviers out there, do you think? Or is this maybe like this guy's phone number? Should we call him or?
If that's his phone number, then he lives in another country. You're going to be paying some long distance roaming charges on that one.
That's okay. Just 001, right? He's struggling with injuries and bye weeks. He says, who should he play, Freeman or Carter at the running back position?
Okay, I'm gonna assume that that's Devonta Freeman. If it's Devonta Freeman, he's the starter this week for the Ravens. You're definitely going to go with him. If it's Royce Freeman, then I'm going to go with Carter.
I'm going to go with Carter either way. I think what you just said about the Miami backfield is what I really worry about. If we're talking about Devontae, if we're talking about Royce, I'm not playing Royce no matter what. But for same thing for Devonta, he's like 70 and he's still out there playing football. He's one knee hit away from being out for the game. I really hate what they've done with the backfield situation in Baltimore ever since they got rid of. I mean, I understand Tyson Williams missed that block and whatever, and that's been kind of the plague on him. But man, you can teach that. And by this far in the league, we should hopefully have him going. But I really like Carter. I think Carter's going to be the running back one coming out of that team, and I think he might be one of those guys that if you grab him now in a lot of leagues, you might have a league winner. You might have the tide turner right there because they're going to have to do more with the push off the front of the Jets' legs right there because you can tell Zach Wilson needs a little bit more time to get developed. And how do you get more time? You develop a better running game. So I really like Michael Carter a lot the rest of the season. So what do you think about that one?
Yeah,
you already said that. Yep, you already said that one.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Yeah, I do. I agree with you though that I do like Michael Carter rest of the season. But the only thing I disagree with is the Ravens backfield. I think it took them a few weeks to really kind of figure it out and dice it up, and they finally figured it out and they decided it's going to be Latavius Murray, which I've been saying all along that it was going to be Latavius's job to lose. Then he got hurt. He's out. Harbaugh typically does tend to be the type of guy that wants just one running back as best as he can get it. Recent history may not suggest that because he's had so many injuries.
Right.
Back there, but for the most part, he likes one running back. So he tries to lean that way when possible. And I think that Freeman stepped up and showed last week that he was the best that's left, which isn't great, but it's the best that's left. And I feel like he's going to get the workload this week. And then when Murray is back, he'll be back into the starting spot. So because of the offense and the fact that he's going to be the main guy in my opinion anyway, this week, that's the only reason I'm going with Freeman.
Gotcha. Fair enough. Uncle Steve asks Rondale Moore or Ayuk today. I'm leaning Ayuk here. I love me some Rondale Moore, but man, there's getting to be too many cooks in that kitchen for me. What about you?
Well, unfortunately, Uncle Steve, I wish we could break this tie for you, but I'm going to go the other way. I'm going to go with Rondale going against the Texans defense. I think that Ayuk going against the Colts, it's a much tougher matchup. And like I said, with Ayuk, as much as I want to believe it's there, I got to see it. How many times have we seen players drop off that second season? And then after the third season, we just haven't ever heard from them again. They call it a sophomore slump. Most players bounce back from it, but I want to see it before I start putting him in my lineups.
Yeah, see, for me, I've seen enough of Rondale Moore to know he's a little bit too boomer bust for my liking. That's why I'm leaning Ayuk here. To me, you're risking about the same amount of ceiling or the same amount of floor for what I think would be a higher ceiling with Ayuk. We got Jesse Torres from Facebook saying pick 2, flex 1, Alex Jones, Fournette, Patterson, and Jay Taylor PPR. Wow, that's that's tough, and it's tough for all the right reasons. We got Jonathan Taylor, Cordell Patterson, Leonard Fournette, and Aaron Jones. Man, that's a hell of a solid lineup right there.
So we got to pick 2, flex 1. So I'm guessing that that means, well, I guess it doesn't matter. They're all running back. Well, unless Patterson's considered a wide receiver in his format.
Either way, that's who I'm sitting in this bunch.
Yeah.
It's Cordell Patterson.
Yeah. Jonathan Taylor is the definite start, especially with
Aaron Jones too.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, I guess you cannot sit either of those guys. And so, man.
And the way Leonard Fournette's been playing football, you can't sit him. Cordell Patterson. Now, here's my case against him is we've seen this kind of production come out of these guys before. You got Calvin Ridley coming back. You've got Pitt, who's been really kind of getting more involved in that offense. He's going to be taking looks away from Patterson. Patterson, I anticipate we see the fall of Patterson starting this week because they do have to, once he starts getting a lot of defensive focus on him as well, he tends to not succeed. So, and it's just, for me, the way the other three guys are playing football right now, I can't lean away from it.
Yeah, I mean, these stats may not be 100% correct, but we've had 37 seasons of seeing that Patterson is not the real deal, and 6 weeks of seeing that he is. He's still scoring touchdowns from 2 weeks ago. He's getting all his points off of these crazy touchdowns. So I agree with you. It's a mirage. In this situation, since you already have studs going, it's easy to bench him, but Fournette's been a solid, steady RB2 every single week. It's a hard sit. So you have a great decision to make here. We're both going to go with Aaron Jones and Jonathan Taylor. Worst case scenario, though, you at least still have the best emoji avatar on here so far. So
yeah, absolutely, absolutely appreciate the pirate look right there.
Good for you, Jesse.
That is awesome, awesome. Okay, so we just got through Danny Fingers and Xavier. Here we go, my guy over here, Big Horse Legs. Big Horse Legs says, who to start at quarterback, Ryan Tannehill or Derek Carr or Sam Darnold?
Big Horse Legs, I love it. So we got Tanny, Carr, and Darnold. So we've got Tanny, Carr, and Darnold. Let's see who they're playing. Tanny's going against Kansas City. He's going to have to throw the ball. Carr has a great matchup against the Eagles. And then Tannehill, I know we just discussed that earlier. Or wait, Carr, Tanny, Darnold. That's who I'm looking for. Darnold is playing. Who's Darnold playing?
Darnold is playing the Giants today, so
that's
tough.
They all have amazing matchups. So
yep.
You know what? Give me Derek Carr. I think he's the most consistent out of this bunch. Considering that with Tannehill, they finally decided that if they give the ball to Derrick Henry all the time, they actually can win football games. So Derrick Henry is getting like 76 touches a game. So let's go ahead and roll with Derek Carr here.
I like them all. Like you were just saying, the matchups here dictate that you can probably play any one of these guys and be just fine. For me, the one thing I don't like is how gritty the Eagles are playing right now. And gritty means tough. Gritty means that these guys are shutting some people down. You're not getting the fantasy numbers that you'd like against that football team. And they're finding ways to win, which is something that the Eagles haven't been good at for a really long time. And it's really, honestly, a good look on them. I can't start Carr there. For me, it's Sam Darnold because the Giants are just decimated, man. I think that they have four of the fifth fans that are coming in. I think it was every fifth fan is going to be starting at cornerback today, something to that effect at the Giant Stadium. So it's really bad over there. He also asked AJ Green or Marcus Callaway.
Callaway.
And for me, it's Callaway too.
And on that quarterback one, it's close enough that I agree with you. I can change my mind from Carr pretty easily. Because I mean, it wouldn't take much to just for the viewer, in case you were wanting us to agree. I can switch my decision and agree on Tannehill.
Darnold,
yeah.
Yep, Tannehill. I can actually agree with you on the sit side of things because, like you said, it's like, oh, hey, we give Derrick Henry the ball, we start winning football games. Brilliant. And we're both right there on Callaway. Jesse Torres also says, in need of a tight end, OJ Howard or Foster Moreau. Gronkowski still trending. I think he's trending out, wasn't he? Or is he coming in?
Yeah, he's not playing. It's Howard.
He is out. For me, it's OJ Howard. I really liked how he was getting used last week. Foster Moreau's a little bit too hit or miss for my liking. So for me, OJ Howard is worth a grab, I think. And I think I'm playing him. I think I'm playing him. I think I've seen enough out of him. He's been getting involved in that situation enough, and Tom Brady loves the tight end position. It doesn't matter.
I saw the next comment pop up, Steve, about Waller, and so I just searched it, and it's still the most recent update is 3 hours ago, and he is a true game time decision. I'm not seeing anywhere else where that is different.
Yep, nope, and I completely am saying the same thing, except I'm seeing that from 2 hours ago. Truly a game time decision. So hold on tight with him. Hopefully you have a backup tight end, because if he plays, I'm playing him. And in that case, if I have to flex him, I'm usually going to be okay with that, especially with the bipocalypse we're facing. Tannehill or Wentz? Jesse Torres asks.
I think he falls right there in with all those other running backs quarterbacks that we were just talking about. Wentz does, and then if you throw in the rain is the reason why he falls in. Typically, I'd probably say Wentz over those other three guys, but the rain is looking pretty bad, and so it does concern me enough that I think I would probably go with Tannehill. Tannehill has a little bit more upside with his legs too, so. I'm going to go with Tannehill just for this week. Most weeks I would say Wentz.
See, and I think I actually agree with you, Tannehill, for me as well. I think he's the guy to get in this one, just because I'm kind of worried about the weather. In the certain instance, like if I can play somebody else like Tannehill in this case, I would. I'm not worried about it enough to where I'm going to go on anything crazy, like like even though Teddy Bridgewater's already played, he's the guy that keeps coming to mind for some reason. I wouldn't play like a Teddy Bridgewater in that instance, but I definitely feel good about Tannehill. Then Jesse also asks, go away. It's like refusing to show it now. But they say last one, flex Lockett or Damian Harris.
Lockett or Damian Harris.
There we go.
Okay, Lockett, Damian Harris. I'm gonna look and see where they're playing at.
For me, I don't like the Lockett production. The hit or miss of Geno Smith is just too scary for me. What did Lockett do last week? 2 for 24, I believe, something to that effect. Patriots at home against the Jets. I really, really like the running situation and the running back. I want to be all in on the running backs in this game on both sides of the ball. I don't think we see a whole lot of passing. I think it's going to be a low scoring affair, but I think the volume is going to sincerely be there for Damian Harris.
Yeah, definitely. I agree.
Excellent. Hey, we agree on another one. That's a record, I think, for us right there.
Hey,
as far
guys,
as it's going.
I'm looking at this weather map for San Francisco, and it is it's not good. It's definitely going to rain the entire game, and a lot of it's going to be pretty heavy rain. So yeah, it's getting worse and worse out there in San Francisco. So wear your raincoats if you're going to the game. Let's just say that.
And start your running backs if you possibly can. Like Elijah Mitchell just really went up when you said that to me.
Like, as a matter of fact, if this were in like Florida, down there in your neck of the woods, it would probably pretty quickly become a hurricane. But since it's out there on the West Coast, it's going to find a way to just chill out and surf.
And the West Coast storms are a lot less impactful than the East Coast storms, I'm finding out too. Although I don't know, man. I still give me Wyoming weather any day of the week if we're talking about extreme.
Yeah, I'm not saying that we're gonna see lightning and all that, but it's definitely gonna rain the whole game.
Yeah, that should be ugly. And yeah, so of course, not that you needed encouragement from me to do it, but start your Jonathan Taylor. Start your Elijah Mitchells. He says he has Colts in an upset. Is that an upset? In your opinion?
I mean, in my opinion, I don't believe so. I think they're pretty even right now. But
I think so too. That's what I think.
The Vegas numbers are.
Yep. Nope. I think I agree with you. The Colts have been practicing with the wet ball all week. Cool. That's awesome. Smart. Very, very smart. One thing I remember about playing football is, man, when the ball gets wet, everything changes. We got at Rock Digital. He says Marquez Callaway at Seattle, Corey Davis at New England. He says expressionless face if Waller is healthy. You think it's dumb to flex 2 tight ends with Goddard? He says dumb crazy decisions with middling players.
I mean, it's never a dumb decision to play Goddard. over Waller, you're kind of borderline dumb decision. But Goddard actually has been outplaying Waller, and since they are a true game time decision, the great thing is that they're playing each other. So it's not like you have to hope like have Waller in there at 4 o'clock and then hope that your 1 o'clock guy doesn't outscore him because Waller doesn't play or something. But so I would say if since it's a game time decision, obviously if Waller sits out, you're going with Goddard. I would leave Goddard in your lineup for right now, at the very least, just in case you forget or can't get to it, whatever. But honestly, if you want to go Goddard, I'm not going to talk you out of it. But I probably would still stick with Waller if he's healthy and enough to play. And then on the other end, the Callaway and Corey Davis, for me, this is still Callaway. I'm going to have a hard time benching Callaway, even though he is kind of boomer bust. I'm always going to have a tough time going against Callaway, but that Seattle defense, that secondary, only has a couple of guys that can cover anybody. So I like Callaway.
Yep, I think Callaway, I mean, he's been getting it done enough where I'm not afraid to play him in this situation. When you start, again, you talk about guys like Waller, and he wasn't, even when he was on the field, healthy, quote unquote, because he just hasn't been the same Waller the past 3 games either way. He hasn't been getting the volume. He hasn't been getting the targets that we've been seeing. Now, granted, you're going to see that all break away once we see him come out there 100%. But when we start talking about game time decisions, I do not like these things. I like Goddard as my tight end right there. And then I'm starting Marquez Callaway right there too. But I definitely understand your case there, because I agree 100% with all of it, just kind of fading a different way there. He says he's also sensing a really nice game from A.J. Dillon. As a dynasty guy, buddy, let me tell you, as an A.J. Dillon owner almost everywhere, I am loving seeing the volume production he's been getting, and they're starting to, use him to spell Jones a little bit more. That coach really wants to get him out there. You can tell. And I still don't know why, because I think Aaron Jones is like probably 10 times the back that Dillon is. But I do actually see him having a pretty good game today. Flex-worthy notifications, but again, only because of where we're sitting right now. Real quick, we got Joe saying he's got the 49ers spread at -4. So yep, I guess that would technically be in us. Corey Davis is starting wide receiver 1 in the All Stinks team. As a matter of fact,
absolutely take the points in that game. Then if you're gonna bet that game, the Colts will be within 4 and have a hell of a shot at winning that game, especially considering it's going to be a running attack style game. This, like, hopefully a game like this can prove to Reich that we need to just run the ball 90% of the time.
Right, especially with, you'd figure the way they drafted and everything like that, that would be their main focus anyways. But, and I agree with Joe here too. It's been an unimpressive year for tight ends. Like, if you don't own Kelsey, it seems like that's about the only guy that you're like, yay, I have Kelsey. You know what I'm saying? Like, and that's literally it. The only guy out there that's been week to week productive and consistent, in my opinion.
One trend I've noticed, we have guys like Nyheim Hines that are on the show weekly. As far as decisions go, we don't know if we want to start him, but with all the buys, those guys are all definitely getting started. Your guys that are like Hines that are typically borderline guys. Now we're getting a lot of the same guys like Corey Davis that are more behind, more back on the list, that are now up to, do I start them or not, because of all the bipocalypse. So this has kind of been interesting. It's a little bit different.
Yeah, it's been kind of fun. I always love the trend and the flow of the questions, and that's what I usually do when I pick a few of these on Twitter, is I try to pick about 5 or 10 on there that I'm like, hey, you know what? I've seen this question about 30 times this week. Let's throw these guys, at least some analysis on it, because a lot of times all you ever get is the, I want this guy, right. play this guy. But you never know really why or what the guy's thinking in his head. And that's why we have the Blitz, is to get these people the help that they need as far as seeing the questions get broke down. Like this one from @97_Hub. He says he's starting Elijah Mitchell, Miles Sanders, or Damian Harris today. He's got to start 2 of them. Who are you starting?
Well, it's not who I'm starting, it's who I'm not starting. Between those 3, I'm not going to start Miles Sanders. I'm gonna stick with Mitchell in that game, that rain game, and Harris in what I believe is going to be a big game for him against the Jets.
And I'm 100% with you. I'm going to cut out the middleman here. I really like anybody who's going to be running the football in the game in the rain. And then, like I said about that Jets and New England game, it's going to be a low scoring affair, likely is going to be a low scoring affair. And so for my money's worth, I'm going to do Damian Harris and Elijah Mitchell on that one as well. There we go. We got Fern for Farmanzilla. Says PPR. He says it's the no CMC roulette again, man. Oh God, I'm feeling that. But if you listen to me, I said trade him in your dynasty leagues this off season. So it might be worth listening to some titles in the off season. We're going to get you ahead of kind of curves like this. We got Jacobs versus Philadelphia, Williams versus Tennessee, Hubbard versus New York. He says Bernie needs to know. And on this one in particular, he had a big old Bernie Sanders saying, help me, give me advice. So,
all right. Well, I mean, considering you don't have CMC, I still really like your matchups and your options here. Hubbard has stepped up really nicely. I've already talked about my Darrell Williams love. And then Jacobs is splitting time like crazy, but he's also been playing really well. He's still scoring touchdowns. But I think I'm going to go with the volume play here. I'm going to go with Hubbard. I think he's the one that's most likely to get more opportunity, more touches this week against the Giants. No offense, Joey. We love you. But I think even Carolina should be able to handle the Giants pretty easily and run the ball a lot. So I'm going to go with Hubbard.
And I don't know why you apologized for us, because you should just only for you, because I'm not sorry, Joe. I'm laughing at your team. Pick on the Giants every single opportunity you get. Get everybody you can against the team. Yeah, Hubbard is even Joe sees it right there. Hubbard is going to have a big game. I really think the New York stinks. That's fair. That's our team name for the All Stings team this year. But yeah, no, I'm with you. 100%. I think Hubbard is the guy today. In that situation, I think I agree with you 100% with your assessment of Jacobs and Williams. I like them both, but I'm with you 100%. Hubbard is the guy, the volume play. Let's pick on the Giants. Let's just keep picking on the Giants until they can prove us wrong, which I believe will be 2023, 2024-ish. We got at L Day Trades. He says, who's getting his flex today? Marquise Brown, Chris Godwin, or Chase Edmonds?
Who's out for Tampa Bay? Is Antonio Brown out?
Antonio Brown is out today.
Yeah, yes. Yeah. So I think I'm going to go with Godwin here personally. I like Marquise Brown. I like how he's stepping up and he's starting to play a bigger and better role. And I think that once Bateman really gets his feet wet and gets his wheels under him, then I think that could be a very high-powered offense with a lot of fantasy point potential. But I just I'm still kind of waiting on that before I trust him on a weekly basis. So I'm going to go with Godwin.
Yep, and I'm leaning Godwin here too. And I mean, I think even without the Antonio Brown, I feel like he's been getting it done enough. Now we haven't been seeing the touchdowns, but he still has been getting the volume that like he's not as hit as miss as Mike Evans to me. Like he's at least consistent, got that consistent floor. I'm sitting underneath him. So for me, I really like Chris Godwin, or as I like to call him, God Chriswin. He's too good not to, man. Quarter point PPR, Bateman versus Cincinnati. I'm on Rob Brown versus the Rams. We're at the Rams. And Damian Williams at Tampa Bay, or Ertz versus Houston. He needs to start 2 flexes here.
Okay. This one was mine, so I don't want to answer this one. This one's
okay
for me. I need your help, Mike.
All my flexes live in Texas, so I'm going to go ahead and start Ertz versus Houston. No, I'm just kidding. For me, I'm thinking so you know how I feel about Bateman and how I feel about sitting and waiting and things like that. I'm on St. Brown. We've seen what we get out of him. I do like the productivity he's been getting, but it's not consistent enough where I'm like, yeah, I'm going to start this guy in my flex. Damian Williams, I think, is going to get enough of the volume. I'm not really too worried about him. I don't believe he ever had COVID. I think he just was exposed and got the 10-day quarantine because he's unvaccinated. So I think he's going to be just as effective out there. The Tampa Bay run defense, although they've been stout, they haven't been the legendary run defense they've been, because I have a feeling it's because of how shattered they are in the DB position, and they just keep getting hurt. So for me, I think I think I'm going with Damian Williams here, and then I think I'm going to go Bateman. Nothing against Ertz. I've got to see it. I've got to see how they tie into that offense and how they fit him in to that offense. And I'm really glad that you have him in your lineup, because that's the thing to do with Ertz is if you have these guys to check them out and to see what they're going to do, it's going to be a great position and great shape you have later on. As long as he is productive, you don't have to worry about fighting for him on waivers. So, but we got to see it. So with Amon-Ra, we know what we got. It's not going to be much. It does have potential to be bigger, but the Rams are pretty decent defensively. So for me, I'm willing to risk it here with Bateman, and then with the consistency of Damian Williams.
Cool. I was kind of personally, I had Bateman and Amon-Ra in there. I was more concerned about the Damian Williams thing, but my problem with Williams is that I was on him and even kept him through last season and this COVID season in a lot of leagues, like dynasty leagues, expecting him to have an opportunity to be a solid backup somewhere. And I was right on that. So then since I was right on that and he got his opportunity, it's like now I understand that Khalil Herbert is better than him, but I don't want to convince myself that I was wrong about that part of it. So, it's hard for me now I just struggle with Damian Williams. So yeah, I appreciate that extra feedback. I'm going to put Damian Williams in over Amon-Ra St. Brown and see what happens.
There you go. Well, that's exactly what I would do if it were my team as well. So
that way I can blame you if I lose.
Yeah, there you go. I like that. Make sure you do it on Twitter in front of everybody.
There you go.
We got at touchdown FSU, Jacobs and Golladay for Mooney and Renfro. Who wins this trade?
Jacobs. The Jacobs side wins the trade just because, anytime you can get a running back out of a deal to me, I think Mooney is the best wide receiver in the deal. Jacobs is the best running back. I'm not big on Golladay, but it also kind of depends on what your team structure looks like. So if you're good on running back even without Jacobs, then you win this trade because you got Mooney, and I think that's a good get. If you need a running back, then all you gave up was Mooney and Renfro for Jacobs, then you won this trade. So I think it's a good fair trade. I don't think anybody necessarily wins or loses. It just depends on the team makeup.
Yep, I like the Jacobs and Golladay side myself. I do like Mooney a lot. Renfro, he's been kind of sneaking in there as a guy that I've been really watching, and I think probably not this year because I think that they got too many issues going on over there for my liking as far as what's going on in the Raiders organization. That I think this is going to kind of be an erratic hit or miss type thing, right? You're not going to see same thing week to week with that team. That said, the one guy who might be consistent in there will be Jacobs because, gosh, he's so good at running the ball. So for me, I like the Jacobs side a lot. And I think Kenny Golladay is another guy I really like. I just don't think that we've been getting to see it yet. So, and yep, Joe Clark says Jacobs as well. He's in on that as well. He says, so that's three of us T2T guys saying you won that trade. Young Smooth 3 says, should he start Mike Davis or Damian Harris today?
I'm going to go with Damian Harris. I think Damian Harris against the Jets, just because Mike Davis, like I said earlier, he's got a solid floor. He's still getting the ball. Like they're still utilizing him like like he is the RB1 on a bad team for running backs. It's just that for whatever reason, this out of nowhere has popped up with Patterson. So I do like Mike Davis's floor in any given situation, but I think Damian Harris against the Jets has the same floor with better potential to.
Yep, and I completely agree. Damian Harris I've been saying it over and over again. I want to get anybody I can in that game on the backfield just as much as I want to get the San Francisco game, Indianapolis. In fact, that's going to be fading a lot of my DFS lineups today as a direct result on those as well. So got that one there. We got a few more questions here. We got Robert. He says flex Damian Harris versus New York Jets, Gibson versus Green Bay, or Devonta Booker versus Carolina. Who we flexing?
We're only flexing one. All right. Yep. Again, Antonio Gibson didn't look that great last week and only scored like maybe 5 or 6 fantasy points. I think Damian Williams is going to blow that out of, or Damian Harris is going to blow that out of the water. So Booker against Carolina. I mean, I like the fact that Booker was the guy. They didn't really split that backfield a heck of a lot last week, but Carolina's defense is just too good against a guy named Devonta Booker. So I'm going to go with Damian Harris again.
Excellent. Yep. Same here. No, it's close for me and Gibson because I just love what Gibson can do with the football.
It is.
But at the same time, give me Damian Harris today. And I'd like to know who your other RB1 and RB2 are for where we're getting to that. Like I'm imagining you got like somebody like Cooks, probably Dalvin Cook, and gosh, who else would it be up there, man? It's got to be probably somebody picked up off of waivers. At Divine Operator, he's suffering from Bimageddon this week. He says he's not really sure about these choices. Which three would you play? Devonta Smith, Waddle, Edmonds, Damian Harris, or Ramondre Stevenson? First Ramondre Stevenson question, and I just would like to throw out there that I'm really high on him today.
Yeah, I like Ramondre. I've been on Ramondre all season, and I even had to cut him in some leagues because for whatever reason they weren't going with him, and then I had to go back and pick him back up again. And honestly, I could go back and pick up Ramondre Stevenson in that league that I talked about earlier and cut Amon-Ra St. Brown. If you think that maybe I should start Stevenson over Damian Williams or Rashad Bateman, if you're that high on him.
I would.
You would start him over which one, Bateman or Damian Williams?
I'd start him over Bateman. Like I said, the speculation versus proven versus speculation. So for me,
never mind. I do still have him. He is my RB1 in that league. I started him and Dearness Johnson. That's how bad my running backs are in that league this week.
Hey,
so.
you could have worse starts to the week.
All right, so let's answer this guy's question since he's the one that's actually, asking the question. So, so my three: Damian Harris, Ramondre Stevenson, and Devonta Smith. And honestly, it's not even really super close. That I think Waddle and Edmonds are both pretty close for me, but they're both a little bit behind of those other three for this week.
Yep, and so like I was saying, I think I really like Ramondre today, but I feel like if I'm up against the one guy that I'm up against him is Damian Harris, I'm going to start Harris over Ramondre. But I don't mind starting either one of those guys, but I'm not probably going to be likely to start both. So for me, it would be Harris in this instance, Waddle and Smith. But like I said, I mean, as long as it's those two that I have to pick between the Harris and the Ramondre show, I think I've been liking what they've been leaning towards the Ramondre side of things as opposed to what I've been seeing out of the Harris side of things. So for me, I still with the volume play, I got to go with Harris, but I really want to say Ramondre right there too.
Yeah, and there's enough of a split in that Arizona backfield that I kind of avoid Edmonds and Connor almost every week, unless I need some kind of like a touchdown upside or something. Then I might go with Connor just because he seems to be getting that red zone, end zone looks. But for the most part, I kind of fade Edmonds and Connor almost every week.
Yeah, no, I agree with that. Like, it's been a nightmare watching both of those two play football this year. And I mean, honestly, to me, it hasn't really been there hasn't really been a whole lot of weeks out there where they're kind of getting it done enough to where I'm like, okay, yep, I want to start them next week. It's always just kind of like you get the one guy touchdown 1 week and then he has a 3-week dry spell. Same with Chase Edmonds. I mean, I just like consistency. He says if Tua is playing, which I believe he is, he loves targeting Waddle. He loves getting Waddle in there. I can't sit Waddle when Tua is out there. Buddy, I think that's going to about wrap it up for us. Do you have anything else to add for the fans today?
No, sir, not at all. I just, I mean, I guess we could talk about the other shows we're going to be on tomorrow night. I'll have the waiver wire episode. This one's only going to be dropped to the Patreons. Patreon supporters, I should say, the patrons. So if you want that waiver wire episode, considering there are still other bye weeks coming up, this is definitely an episode you want to see. But we're only giving it to the Patreon supporters for this one. I'm not even going to open it up on YouTube until much later. So Patreon.com/toilets titles, just like you see down there at the bottom, and give us at least that $5 level, that second tier level, to get that episode. And then Tuesday nights, myself and Nate, we're gonna be back on for the main show. And Mike, I know you do another show also that's going to be popping up this week, right?
Yeah, the Dash DFS.
You've been mentioning this whole DFS thing a few times throughout this episode. So
yep, me and Coach and our buddy Joe, we hop on there and we do Dash DFS every week. And honestly, I mean, if you've been following us and you've been playing those lineups, you've been cashing, man. My exception is last week. I got my ass handed to me last week with I love Justin Herbert call, and I think he's going to destroy the Baltimore Ravens when I guess they had completely different plans in Baltimore last week than what my fantasy ideas were.
And then our boy Alex, who's MIA this morning, so we hope everything's okay with him. But he and Nate do a betting show where they just talk bets and betting lines and odds and stuff like that. And I know of at least one viewer who just commented down there at the bottom that says that he likes to take all the games that the two agree on, and he seems to be making money that way. So if we're helping you make money, then that's what that particular episode is all about. But we also still hope you're really having fun with it. And then of course Joe's in the chat. If you guys really want to chat it up with Joe will chat to anybody for a long time. So just chat with Joe, because he's on a couple of times a week where he's just talking football. So those shows are actually pretty interesting because it's most of the time it's not really fantasy eccentric, or wait, is it eccentric? Fantasy centric. Eccentric would probably be another type of show that Joe does on a different
on a different YouTube channel.
But they're not really fantasy centric, and it's just all about football. And I actually really enjoy it, especially when he's talking college football, because I don't have time to watch college football on Saturdays. So I kind of get updated by Joe on Sunday morning. So yeah, we got a lot going on for you guys this week and every week during the season. So appreciate you guys viewing.
Yep, absolutely. Yeah, we couldn't do it without you folks out there. It's definitely been a pleasure this season so far. And again, like I said, if you've been following us, man, we've been crushing it for you. So keep following us, keep doing what we keep telling you guys that we'd be doing in those situations. What about the eccentric one though, Joe? Do you want to share your link for that one? Like, let's get you some GroupMe member, or not GroupMe. What is that dang thing? OnlyFans. Let's get you some OnlyFans, Joe. All right, guys, that's going to wrap it up for us this week. Look forward to seeing you guys again. Justin, thank you for joining us. Alex, God, man, I hope you're all right. Now, prayers be with you and all that fun stuff. And we will see you guys next week.